A movement starts with one man having a very strong vision.
Movement to me is bring an idea to a big scale proportion.
A movement would be a new way of thinking.
Without a spark and without momentum, a movement can't happen.
I think it usually centers around some sort of message that attracts people.
You have to be passionate about that idea.
And that passion then is contagious. It spreads to other people.
God has used young people in the past because they are zealous.
They haven't bought the lie that their life doesn't count.
They are willing to put themselves out there and to try.
They want to be part of it because it's something bigger than themselves.
They don't have something in their mind saying, that will never work. They just know Jesus.
The Second Great Awakening had its roots at Williams College in Massachusetts. In the summer of 1806, a young college student by the name of Samuel Mills had a burden to pray for his fellow students that they would come to know Christ. And so he recruited some other Christian students to have a regular weekly prayer meeting down by the river behind the campus. One Saturday afternoon, coming back from the river, they got caught in a rainstorm. They took shelter under the edge of a large haystack and waited for the rain to quit. They continued the prayer meeting there, and their prayers moved from the salvation of their friends on campus to the evangelization of the world. That led to a deeper commitment that all 5 of them would commit themselves to reaching the world for Christ. By the time they graduated as seniors, they had formed their own foreign mission society and petitioned local churches to send them as America's first missionaries to Asia. So the Haystack Prayer Meeting was the genesis, if you will, of the American missions movement, as well as the Second Great Awakening. When I think about the history of how God has used people, historically, He's used students. That's the key that's going to unlock the world for Jesus.
I think when you know that God has used student movements in the past to launch the gospel into the nations, it gives you both a sense of expectancy and faith and hope that God can do the same in our generation.
I think it would be best if young people reach out to younger people. It's easier to relay the message to a person that you can relate to.
I was a non-believer. I was living this secular life, and I was enjoying it, and I was far, far away from God. I always know that God exists, but I just do not have this relationship with Him.
I met the Navigators through my friend. She invited me to a Bible study. When I first went, I was very skeptical. I was in a time of my life where I felt distant to God. I didn't quite believe that He loved me.
I came to Christ as a freshman student at the University of Loughborough in the centre of England. It was an American Navigator missionary who spoke the night I came to Christ. The young man who actually led me to Christ had been trained by that American missionary.
I stayed with the Navigators because they were very sincere. For them, the love of God was real. I could see it in the way they treated me.
I start to see this hope that lives in them, and I want this. I want a piece of this.
They did not present it in a way that appealed to my emotions, but rather to my intellect.
It became a stronger and stronger motivation in me to give back to others, to give others the same opportunity that I'd had. And that was, in a major part, the motivation that led eventually to me going to Nigeria.
The vision of iEDGE is to see the fulfillment of the Great Commission found in Matthew 28, verses 19 and 20. Therefore, go and make disciples
of all nations, baptizing them in
the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit,
and teaching them to obey
everything I've commanded you. And surely I am with you
always to the very end of the age.
The Great Commission is a call to share what's been given to me to others.
What excites me is people being transformed and people being changed.
There are people out there who are waiting to hear the good news.
Going overseas is really about giving our lives away, putting ourselves in a position where we may be uncomfortable. I can't think of any greater adventure.
This generation is a going generation. God is going to use your lives for great things.
The type of person we're looking for would have a passion for Jesus, a willingness to sacrifice, to do whatever it takes.
Someone who has a heart for the nations, a heart to be used by God, and is willing to go and serve.
That statement, go, means wake up.
In my country, there is a need for the gospel, but there are not enough people who are willing to let go of everything and go.
We give ourselves away. We make ourselves servants. Jesus drives us.
I'm just a human vessel. That's all I am. And asking God to use me.
The great missionary stories are about people who didn't know very much, didn't have a lot of experience, but who were willing to step out by faith and trust God to use them.
We're believing that through iEDGE, God will raise up a new generation, a new wave of young men and women to take the gospel to the world.
We're believing God for another revival, for a wave of young men and women to go forth to the nations.